Some of the most ruthless and dangerous warriors the Imperium of Man has to offer come from the temples of the Officio Assassinorum. The Imperial Assassins are the High Lord's sharpest blade. They possess the necessary resources to execute their prey with precision and cunning like no other Imperial military force. If an apostate Cardinal attempts to hide behind a sector-wide traitor armada, the Temple Assassin will find him, cut off his balls, and then slit his throat. If a Xeno warlord wraps himself up with fortifications and bodyguards, the assassin will find a way to slaughter him in his own lair. Such powers are bestowed onto Imperial assassins because they are tried and tested servants of the Emperor of Mankind. But every now and then, even these well-disciplined individuals will allow temptation and arrogance to take over their minds, and these supremely honed killing machines become rogue assassins, answering to no one but themselves. And worst of all, they become the Imperium's worst enemy, butchering their way out of the Assassinorum control and causing mayhem in the process. And with that said, I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we're going to be talking about the Rogue Assassin. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day, so if you guys have questions about the universe or have any suggestions for videos, let me know what it is in the comments section below. And if you guys like the content, consider subscribing to the channel, supporting us on Patreon, or just simply hitting the like button. It really helps out the channel. But with all of that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Rogue Assassins. Rogue Assassins are a rarity within the Imperium of Man. It is no mistake that these highly trained warriors are borderline Imperial drones, psycho-indoctrinated to act to the will of the Imperial Masters, with zero liberties of their own. But that's not to say that assassins don't rebel against the Officio Assassinorum. After all, they are required to have enough autonomy to survive behind enemy lines and have the intellect to complete their missions. What might drive the assassin to betray the Imperium is similar to the corruption of any other faction. The power of chaos taking advantage of an unforeseen weakness, deeply rooted egotism that is heightened as the assassin grows stronger than his master, or the simple desire to be free. When an Imperial assassin goes rogue, it is the responsibility of its temple to eliminate that traitor by any means necessary. This means that it's the rogue's comrades who will quickly be on his trail, using the same hunting methods that the runaway was taught. This leads to a difficult pursuit, as the rogue always has the upper hand against their former peers, deconstructing the assassin's hunting methods and either getting away or killing the pursuing assassin. When this occurs, the temple might request the aid from another temple, as each assassin temple has its own unique methods of eliminating its quarry. Very few Imperial records exist of rogue assassins. Whether this is an intentional censure by the Officio Assassinorum or proof that few rogue assassins have actually existed, it's completely unknown. The records that do exist showcase the dangers these renegades possess to the Imperium of Man. The infamous rogue Calidus assassin Acid Varenus grew up on the Underhive of the Perseus Hive on the planet of Olympus. Found by the Inquisitors at the age of 12, she was given over to the Officio Assassinorum for testing to see if she was a suitable candidate for the Calidus Temple. She passed the physical test easily, and her intelligence was clearly superior to most of the Imperium's inhabitants. There were doubts about her loyalty, but the masters of the temple believed that through years of arduous training, this could easily be overcome. Acid continued to be rebellious and selfish, and at the age of 17 it was likely that she would be quietly killed, considered unsuitable for further training. Though she had perfected many of the skills required to be a Calidus, and had even begun to successfully use the shape-altering drug polymorphine, her dubious motives had become too much of a worry for the leaders of the Calidus Temple. Her tale would have simply ended there had she not fallen under the care of the Thorian Inquisitor Darwin, who intended to use her in a secret experiment involving the development of a new drug known as hyperpolymorphine that was intended to artificially create a vessel for the rebirth of the Emperor Incarnate. Surviving the experimental sessions, her own ruthless determination allowed her to master the side effects of the hyperpolymorphine. Using the powers granted to her by the effects of the experimental drug, Acid managed to escape. She now survives as a freelance assassin, working for Imperial commanders with political ambitions, and has even worked alongside Xenos and some Chaos cults, if the pay is right. Her dependence on certain stabilizing elixirs has forced Acid to raid Adeptus Mechanicus facilities in order to acquire sufficient drugs to preserve her life. These raids have provided a trail to her whereabouts for her main adversary, the Inquisitor Lord Antigonus Bolarendin. The Inquisitor's concern is not only the acts of murder and mayhem that she causes, but also the tactical threat her existence possesses for the Imperium at large. While Acid lives, anti-Imperial forces could capture her and learn many of the secrets of the Calidus Temple and the Inquisition. Should knowledge of how to manufacture and use polymorphine be learned by the Emperor's enemies, it could cause untold damage, while the location of the Assassin's Temple outpost is a closely guarded secret. And then there's this Jarek, who was an infamous rogue Calidus assassin who was active during the War of Vindication, which took place shortly after the death of the renegade High Lord Goge Vandire during the Age of Apostasy's Reign of Blood in the early 36th millennium. Vandire had managed to corrupt many within the Officio Sicinorum, just as he had bribed and blackmailed his way through the other Imperial Adepta. Foremost amongst Vandire's agents was Jarek. Using polymorphine, Jarek had assassinated the true Grand Master of the Officio Sicinorum and assumed his identity. However, unbeknownst to Jarek, the true Grand Master had expected such a plot and had a decoy assassin take his place in his chambers. As such, Jarek had not killed the true Grand Master, who secretly mustered those still loyal to him and the Emperor to fight against the usurper. A heinous battle raged within the Imperial Palace itself, amongst the various factions of the assassins, as they brought their terrible skills to war. The ancient arsenals of the Officio Sicinorum were open, and terrifying weapons, long banned by the Senatorum Imperialis, were brought to bear by the assassins on both sides. They were used against each other, and in the end, the true Grand Master assassinated Jarek and disappeared into a self-imposed exile. After the conclusion of the Wars of Vindication, the hidden order of the Inquisition known as the Ordo Sicarius was set up to police the activities of the Officio Sicinorum. The various temples were split up and scattered to separate locations throughout the galaxy, in order to ensure that if one should fall to Xeno influence, possession, or heresy, others would remain untainted. Other rules were also put into place to ensure that no single individual could abuse wielding the power of the Officio Sicinorum for their own ambition. The actions of one rogue assassin could have destroyed the entire Officio Sicinorum. And those were 40 facts on the Imperial Rogue Assassin. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. When I was reading the lore, I instantly thought, oh, this would be perfect for a role-playing game. Like if you're playing Dark Heresy, or if you're playing a 40k themed D&D campaign, the Rogue Trader is the Rogue Assassin is a must to throw in at a party, or maybe even like become a Rogue Assassin. You could even do it as like a character. Like if somebody at your table wants to be a Rogue Assassin, you could do it, because like the very first Rogue Assassin that we talked about, she didn't really graduate from the Officio Sicinorum Temple, so she knows some of the techniques. She's really good at killing, but she's at the same time not like all the way there. So it would be really cool to have a character develop his skills and then already come into the party or the campaign with a certain set of skills. Now on the actual tabletop, it would be cool to throw some homebrew lore to a assassin that you have playing for like an Imperial faction, because you can do that. I know assassins on the tabletop aren't all that great. Like most elite units in this current edition, it's just they look cool, but I don't really think that they're worth the points to bring into an actual army. Comment down below if you've played an assassin and it actually does well. What is your technique? What are you doing that actually makes them good? Because I've used, I think it wasn't the Calidus, I think it's the shooty one, the Vindicare one, and he was okay. Snipers are not so good this edition, but I would love to hear your guys' tactics down in the comment section below. Also, if you guys have suggestions for any other topics, let me know what they are. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos, and I will talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.